This is a story about Gary. He thought pooping was very, very scary. Gary was 5 years old, and he'd been wearing big boy underoos for a while now. He was an active boy, and all the kids in the neighborhood liked to play at his house because he had the coolest treehouse ever. One day, after several hours in the treehouse with his friends, Gary's tummy hurt, so he went to the bathroom and tried to poop. And he pushed and pushed to get the poop out. When it finally came out, he felt like it had ripped his bottom in half, and there was even blood on the toilet paper when he wiped. Well, this freaked Gary out, but he didn't tell his parents because he was too scared and too embarrassed. A couple days went by before he felt like he had to poop again, but this time Gary held the poop in because he remembered how much it hurt the last time. He would stand behind the couch or hide in the closet trying to hold his poop. When his mom asked him if he had to poop, he always told her no and ran off to play, trying to pretend that he was fine. But meanwhile, his tummy did not feel well, and it was getting kind of round and hard. Gary's mom found underwear in his room that had poop on them. She also found underwear in the trash. One evening, after Gary had gone to bed without eating much for dinner, his parents talked about the strange behaviors, the dirty underwear, and the change in his appetite that they had been noticing. They were becoming very concerned. Pretty soon, Gary's older brother and sister, Barry and Mary, started teasing him for pooping in his pants like a baby and smelling like a dirty diaper. Gary felt so ashamed and frustrated. The poop just kept leaking out, and he didn't know how to make it stop. What was worse was that he couldn't feel it come out anymore. Finally, Gary couldn't take it anymore. The kids at school were calling him names like Dookie Butt and Poopy Pants, and the neighborhood kids weren't coming over anymore because they said Gary smelled. His belly hurt, and all he wanted to do was cry. When Gary refused to come out of his room to eat dinner with the family, his parents went to him and said that they had decided to take him to the doctor tomorrow because they were worried about him. Gary was mortified. He thought that he was in trouble, and it made him feel even more sick thinking of talking to Dr. Brown about pooping his pants. Gary was very uncooperative and made it difficult on his parents to get him to the appointment. When Dr. Brown finally came into the room and started talking to Gary and his parents about what had been going on, he felt himself relax a little. Gary realized that his parents were not angry, they were worried. Also, Dr. Brown treated it like he'd heard this stuff every day, which he probably did, and Gary couldn't imagine talking all day about poop. He told Gary that this was not his fault, and that it happened to a lot of kids, and that he could help make pooping easier for Gary. He told the parents that they did the right thing by bringing Gary in, since he had all the classic signs of Encopresis. Gary and his parents felt relieved. This is what they learned about Encopresis that day at Dr. Brown's office. Gary was having complications of chronic constipation called Encopresis. It is not a disease. 90% of the cases are due to constipation that has no known medical cause and is more common in boys. Encopresis is fecal soiling that usually occurs because liquid stool is leaking, usually involuntarily, out around the impacted stool in the rectum. As the impaction worsens, it leads to rectal distension. The colon and the rectum become so stretched out that the nerves are less sensitive and the muscles weaker. This results in the nerve's diminished ability to tell the brain that it is time for a bowel movement, and they may not even feel the stool leak out. The muscles can't even hold small amounts of stool in or push the hard stool out. Some common causes of severe constipation are dietary, low fiber, too much dairy, not enough water, some medications, anxiety about the pain of passing large hard stools, refusal to use bathrooms away from home, and power struggles with parents. People often mistake encopresis as a behavioral issue, assume that the child is lacking self-control or misbehaving. Punishments and consequences are not helpful and leave the child feeling more ashamed. It can sometimes take up to a year for the colon and rectum to shrink back to normal size and proper functioning. Counseling can address the issues of guilt and shame often associated with this condition. Also, refusal to poop in the toilet or use a toilet away from home are other issues that should be addressed. How do you treat encopresis? First of all, the colon must be emptied of the hard, impacted stool. There are a variety of ways of doing this: enemas, suppositories, high doses of mineral oil, and laxatives. Parents should never give these treatments at home without first checking with the doctor. Also, avoid frequent use of any of these items. Once the colon is cleaned out, stool softeners will be given to give the bowels a chance to shrink back to normal size. Next, a potty schedule should be set up. Having the child sit on the toilet after each meal for about 5 to 10 minutes to establish a pattern. The reward system is often helpful: stickers and charts and incentives. The child doesn't have to have a bowel movement and shouldn't be punished if they don't. Routine is key here. Getting in the habit of trying to have a regular bowel movement is what is important. Yep. Diet and exercise are important, as well as fiber-rich foods, lots of water, and minimal dairy products. Most of all, give your child love and support and encouragement.